I want to, go over, I think that there's been a couple of guys in the community who have made some really interesting videos in regard to the Gears of War collection, none more so than SASxSH4DOWZ, who I think, obviously SASxSH4DOWZ is, when I think of the face of Gears of War, at least at this, current juncture in time, SASxSH4DOWZ has been the most consistent Gears of War creator in the community. And so he brought out a video talking about the Gears of War collection rumors. He actually had some down in his mind, and this is before some of the recent rumors that have come out before the Xbox Game Showcase. So I want to go ahead and react to this video with all of you. Let's check it out.
Hey guys, SASxSH4DOWZ here. Welcome back to another Gears of War video. Today we're going to be discussing the Marcus Phoenix collection rumors, and is a Gears collection actually finally happening? The upcoming Xbox and Bethesda game showcase for 2022 on June 12th is approaching real fast, being only a few days away from getting to witness the latest and greatest everything coming to the Xbox platform. Is Microsoft get ready to take the stage to highlight and showcase all of the games, news and announcements from the Xbox Game Studios and its partners?
Okay, first and foremost, guys, I think something I definitely want to mention, just in regard to SASxSH4DOWZ, massive shout out to SASxSH4DOWZ, who has, like I said, been the most consistent when it comes to content creation on YouTube in the Gears of War space. There's a number of others that have done incredible things, but I think that SASxSH4DOWZ has really created like the standard for Gears of War content and such. I've said this many times, that if, all of us were to create some form of content, not everybody creates content, but if everyone were to create content who love Gears of War or support their favorite, content creators and favorite streamers, I think that Gears of War as a whole would absolutely be able to flourish in a massive way. I just think it takes all of us as a community to do those things, and SASxSH4DOWZ has become the standard. And so, as you guys can tell, I have dedicated my YouTube channel moving forward to the Gears of War universe and Gears of War as a whole. And so it's something that absolutely means a ton to me, that my channel, which started as a StarCraft channel, turned into a channel where I talked about tons of different games, now narrowing it down to Gears of War, because I love this franchise so much. And when this franchise has been being, in question of its future, I felt that it was my duty to absolutely create content around this franchise to make sure that a game and a franchise that I love so much does not go to the wayside and go into a limbo state or a state of no return. So we're going to do whatever it takes to make those things happen. Niagara Zed says, hey, what's up, Niagara Zed? Appreciate you for being here, man. But with that being said, guys, SASxSH4DOWZ, massive shout out to him.
The Courage and Studio last stepped onto an Xbox stage, as well as also the release of Gears 5. And so, of course, the Gears fans and Xbox gamers alike are very interested to see whether or not the Courage and Studio will be making an appearance at the Xbox Gamer Showcase this Sunday. If you didn't know by now or haven't noticed, the Gears of War annual release date schedule has changed, as TC shifted into next-gen development in Unreal Engine 5 as confirmed last year. It does look like there won't be a...
Okay, so this footage that was shown, it was like just showing off the power of Unreal Engine 5, I think was really important. Obviously, because this footage that was shown here for Unreal Engine 5 and kind of the power of Unreal Engine 5 by the Coalition, this is a pretty big deal, because this footage definitely, to me, and we've talked about this on the YouTube channel, that it looks without question to be, in the Gears of War universe. Now, it may not be I think of it as our first look at Gears 6, but it very well may not be. Obviously, there's a new character, what we think to be a new character. Same thing with some of the creatures and from the Locust Horde and such. Looks very much so like a first look at what at least some models of what some Gears of War characters and such would look like. And that's why I'm saying that this is what I believe to be the first look. And so I'm hoping that, obviously that's not confirmed, but I think that them showing this to what looks to be Gears of War characters and things of that nature, I would have to admit that this could very well have been our very first look at Gears 6.
Time soon, with the next Gears game very likely not releasing this year or even next year. However, that doesn't mean that a new Gears of War game is super far away, as the Xbox Game Showcase rumor mill has been running at full speed pretty much all of this year, that the coalition might be releasing something that should be getting Gears fans excited for it if it turns out to be an actual reality, and as soon as dropping later this year in 2022. Back in January at the beginning of this year, Special Nick from the Xbox Era podcast did drop a massive hint that there is going to be another Xbox franchise owned by Microsoft that will be getting the Master Chief Collection style treatment, a bundle of all of the games remade and modernized with the latest technology.
There is another Microsoft franchise. I'm not allowed to say the franchise. There is another Microsoft franchise that will be getting like I guess the Master Chief Collection treatment.
Okay, so in regards to this is really interesting because this came out on Xbox Era podcast, and they're talking about a title within Microsoft's IPs that they own, that there's going to get a Master Chief Collection treatment, Master Chief-esque collection, and they confirm it to be, because everybody was guessing it being Gears of War. A lot of people were thinking it was Fable. A lot of people thought that it was maybe Forza, but it seems from this at least that it was going to be Gears of War. Now, Zed says, what about if you search on the internet? There was 3 articles saying in one of them there's bad news for Gears fans, and another one, Jez Gordon said it's not happening. Yes, so obviously that is something that has come out like very recently, right? Jez Gordon is another very well-renowned Xbox insider, saying that he doesn't believe that the Gears of War collection exists. So it's interesting because obviously you have the Xbox Era podcast saying one thing, and they have very good those sources are very reliable as well. So it's a very interesting thing. You have a couple of entities saying different things, and so I think what it really comes down to is we're going to have to wait and see, obviously, at the Xbox Game Showcase. If you were to ask me, it makes total sense to bring out an Xbox, or I should say a Gears of War collection for Microsoft, especially if we're talking a bridge title from Gears of War 5 or Gears 5 to Gears 6. You have like a title like the Gears of War collection that comes out, say, in 2022. Gear 6 comes out 2024, 2025. So that makes a lot of sense, at least to me. But at the same time, we're going to have to kind of wait and see. We're going to be finding out here very shortly, Zed, and all of you watching out there, what happens here at the Xbox Game Showcase. I've stated that I want to see both announced, that being Gear 6 as well as the Gears of War collection. But I think Gear 6 is more important because that gives us, the future of Gears, right? Gears of War collection is just something that they... obviously, I think it's important that it comes out, but I think that it's more important to see what the future of the franchise looks like.
Is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
That's now timelines. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's a thing that's going to be this year, next year, whatever it is. Probably most likely, I would guess, next year. But I don't know timelines right now. Just that there will be another Microsoft franchise getting that Master Chief Collection treatment. Collection of all the games.
After the Xbox Era podcast had finished, a Xbox fan called Idle Sloth did tweet out then the timestamp regarding the brand new Xbox Collection rumor mill from the podcast itself, which then Tom Warren, the senior editor at The Verge, who is known for being very credible for his Xbox sources, did reply with the following: the gears are really turning on this rumor.
So right there, I mean, you've got a lot of sources and a lot of insiders that are close to Xbox and some of the things that are probably going on behind the scenes over there saying, yes, the Gears of War collection is, or a Master Chief-esque collection for Gears of War is coming. And then you've got a guy, obviously saying that the gears are really turning on this one. Obviously, a lot of people are jumping to the conclusion that it's Gears of War, and I believe that it's Gears of War as well. But obviously, with the more recent ordeals from Jez Gordon saying that it's not a Gears of War collection and saying that doesn't even exist is very, very interesting to say the least. And that definitely hurts a little bit, especially if that is to be true. But we're not going to know, guys, until the Xbox Game Showcase. Obviously, we'll find out all things that are going on behind the scenes over at Xbox.
Next up, just recently, Special Nick, once again from the Xbox Era podcast, did mention that the Xbox collection he first teased earlier this year could be getting a June E3 announcement soon, for a surprise release date later this year in 2022.
Maybe it'll be their E3 announcement, that collection from a Microsoft franchise. I mean, everyone's guessed it. I'm still not going to say it, but everyone's guessed it. What makes me laugh though is that if you go from November 2021 to November 2022 and you look at Microsoft's big output, it could wind up being Halo Gears 4.
Halo Gears important.
I mentioned about a franchise that is supposed to be getting the Master Chief type treatment, which is Gears. I mean, everyone was guessing Gears or Fable. It was going to be one of those two.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the info. I'm wondering what I'm supposed to say here. That's all. Because I already got in a little bit of trouble for even mentioning Gears at all. So I don't want to then mention something else and get in more trouble. I guess all I'll say is that in terms of what this is supposed to be, don't expect it to be just a packaging up of like the 360 titles.
Yeah, that
As
would make
in
sense.
the BC titles that we already have out there,
Yeah.
just being bundled together and sold. That's not what this is meant to be, as far as I know.
So obviously they're saying that it's not meant to just be kind of like a copy and paste. It's not going to be, at least from what these guys are talking about, the Xbox Era podcast are saying, is that it's supposed to, they're actually, putting a lot into these, into this Gears of War collection, which is really interesting. I mean, to say the least. I'm very excited about the possibility and how that sounds. But like I said, we've been having some contradiction. Zed says the Coalition did a Twitter post saying, rev those Lancers here in 2022 on the New Year's. Remember, there was a picture of Gears 2 Marcus Phoenix. And I also read that saying that Xbox is bundling a Marcus Phoenix collection, and it was a report. Yeah, so look, I mean, it's tough to say. I think we've got, we've obviously got some contradiction going on. One person saying one thing, another source is saying another. Could they, maybe be off by a year, as in terms of like, hey, is, the Gears collection is coming, but it might not be, it may be another year away or something of that nature. Doesn't make a lot of sense for it to be that way, in my opinion. Maybe they're going to announce Gears 6, or they're only going to announce one of these titles this year. If it were up to me, I would say definitely Gears 6. But I think it makes even more sense to announce both of them, just to say, hey, Gears of War's collection's coming out this year, and this is, like, they show a full-blown trailer for that, and they show us a little teaser for Gears 6 to kind of let us know, hey, guys, we have not forgotten about the future of Gears of War. Gears 6 is definitely in development at this point in time. I think that's what we need to be kind of waiting and hoping for here at the Xbox Game Showcase. Because we're better to announce the Gears of War collection, Gears 6, or any of those things than at the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase.
The rumors and speculation that has shown up this year for a Gears of War collection to be a real thing, I still find it very, very hard indeed to actually believe it's going to exist, purely because I have been asking for a Gears of War collection ever since the Halo Master Chief collection was announced itself, way back now at E3 2014, and I have made multiple videos over the years with literally it never happening.
So what I'm going to be talking about is a Gears of War collection coming to Xbox One, and so obviously the idea of this has came from 343 Industries' Halo Master Chief collection, which got announced at E3 2014.
What's very interesting though is that years ago the head of the Coalition studio, Rod Ferguson, publicly addressed the idea of a Marcus Phoenix collection before Gears of War 4, when speculation for a Gears collection was making the rounds by tweeting out the following: I love the passion, but there is no Marcus Phoenix collection. We are working on other exciting Gears projects.
Okay, so a couple of things here. What Shadows is saying about, he's been asking for a Gears of War collection for a long time. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, that's one person who's asking for it. And, you are obviously, in my mind, he is the face of Gears of War, really. I mean, Rod Ferguson and Cliffy B were kind of like the faces of Gears for a while. We don't have that right now, but I feel like Shadows is really taking on the role of really keeping us all informed of things within Gears of War and such. I really feel, though, that what he's talking about is that he's been asking for it for a while. And, you know, obviously it's been something that has not come to fruition, not something that they've been, you know, not something that they're working on at this point in time, or at least he has a hard time believing that they're working on a Marcus Phoenix or Gears of War collection at this point, because he's been asking for it for so long. And I feel like he, that being Shadows, is, I mean, being the face of the content side of Gears of War. I mean, the Coalition and, you know, Microsoft should be looking at people like Shadows, because I think that Shadows speaks for a lot of people in the community. And I think it really is important that this is something that should have happened. Now, I'm hoping that after all these years of him, you know, and all of us kind of pleading for a Gears of War collection, a Gears 6, and so on and so forth, that we get those things, or get like announcements of them here at the Xbox Game Showcase this year. I think that that's very, very important. But yes, Rod Ferguson, obviously, guys, being the studio head at the Coalition at the time, stating that Gears 6, Gears 7, as well as a Gears of War movie are all confirmed. He did also say, though, that a Marcus Phoenix collection was not something that they were working on. They were working on other exciting Gears of War projects. Now, Rod Ferguson now is, of course, over at Blizzard working on the new Diablo title, but this was something that did come out. And, you know, obviously, you know, to me, I feel I really want, like I was saying earlier, alluding to earlier, I want a Gear 6 announced before Gears of War Collection. I mean, obviously I want both of them announced at the same time, but I would prefer Gear 6 because that gives us the future forward. The Gears of War Collection would be a perfect bridge title, in my personal opinion.
See you at E3. I would argue right now in 2022 that the rumors of a Gears of War collection existing are the largest the movement has ever been ever, with several major publications out there such as GameStop posting about it, and the Coalition Studio have yet to either acknowledge a Gears collection happening or even shut the rumors down.
And that, I want to stop right there. That is a very important point. The Coalition has been very quiet. Very quiet. And a couple of things here. If they announce the Gears of War collection and Gear 6, not even so much Gear 6, we're talking more specifically about the Gears of War collection. With all the rumors, the mad speculation going around about the Gears of War collection, if Microsoft and the Coalition do not address the Gears of War collection rumors and speculation and such, coming out and saying that it's real, that it's happening, that will be a massive disservice, and I will be incredibly disappointed in Microsoft as well as the Coalition. If they come out, here's the thing, they didn't come out and say it one way or another up to this point. They didn't, you know, what they should have done was, hey, guys, the Gears of War collection is not happening. And that would have been perfectly, you know, then everyone in the community would have, you know, put all the rumors to rest that, okay, they're not working on it. Or they could have come out and said, yeah, we are working on it. But the secrecy part of it puts them in a pretty tough situation, in my opinion, because if they don't announce it, here at the Xbox Game Showcase, there is going to be absolute huge backlash around the Coalition and such, in my personal opinion. Now, if they announce a Gear 6, it's going to lessen the blow, but I just think that they have to address this. They have to. Zed's asking, will there be any Gears announced today? Look, man, I am very optimistic that Gears of War is going to be a topic of conversation at the Xbox Game Showcase. I refuse to believe that we aren't going to get any Gears at all. Like, there's going to be something, whether it's a teaser for Gear 6, whether it's announcement of the Gears of War collection, whether it's both of those things, or the Gears of War movie, we get a trailer for that. We are going to get something around Gears of War. I truly do believe that, without question.
I do feel like it would only serve as negative press and a lot of disappointment towards the Gears of War franchise if a Gears collection isn't happening, and TC allowing the rumors to just run wild for no reason whatsoever, when just like Rod in the past, step in and set realistic expectations. Rod Ferguson departed the coalition back in March 2020 as head of the studio, which was already 2 years and 3 months ago, with the announcement of Gears 5 content support ending in 2021, Gears 5 esports ending this month, and then of course Gears 6 just being years and years away. What have the Coalition Studio been working on for the last 27 months if it isn't a Gears collection, which would definitely explain a lot?
So, look, he brings up some huge points here, some massive points. I mean, I was kind of alluding to it earlier, but, the fact that they have to address the Gears of War collection at this Xbox game showcase, they have to. I really cannot see them not addressing it. If they don't address it, or if the coalition totally ghosts everyone by not even being at the Xbox game showcase, there is going to be backlash unlike anything that we've ever seen. And so look, guys, I'm going to be as positive and, obviously we got to take everything with a pinch of salt that we're hearing, positive as well as negative, but I do believe that we are going to be seeing something very, very shortly here, guys, because we're a little bit over 30 minutes away from the start of the Xbox Game Showcase. Let me know, though, guys, what you all think. Do you think that we're going to be seeing the Gears of War collection announced here at the Xbox Game Showcase? Do you think we're going to be seeing the announcement of Gears 6, the Gears of War movie? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Gears of War collection, Gears 6, Gears of War movie, all of those things, stay here with Zero TV.